On November 7, President Trump tweeted, and I quote, "I won this election by a lot," end quote. Obviously, that's not true. Do you believe that label goes far enough to prevent the tweet's harms when the tweet is still visible and not accurate? Well, let me give you a specific. On November 7, President Trump tweeted this: "I won this election by a lot." Does that label do enough to prevent the tweet's harms when the tweet is still visible and is not accurate?
So look, that was Senator Dianne Feinstein asking the head of Twitter the same exact question twice and not seeming to understand that she had asked it twice. And that is one of several incidents in recent years that have led people, as well as behind the scenes info from people working with the senator, to think that perhaps she is having a little bit of difficulty in understanding what is going on, expressing herself, organizing her thoughts. Well, that is going to be buttressed by this new report coming out. We saw in the Daily Beast of a number of sources talking about her current difficulties. 4 US senators, including 3 Democrats, as well as 3 former Feinstein staffers and the California Democratic member of Congress, told the Chronicle in recent interviews that her memory is rapidly deteriorating. They said it appears she can no longer fulfill her job duties without her staff doing much of the work required to represent the nearly 40 million people of California. Bear in mind, she's not just a senator, she's a senator for California. If being a senator is a difficult job, it is particularly difficult when you're in a massive state just like this one. They said that the memory lapses do not appear to be constant, and that some days she is nearly as sharp as she used to be. Yes, the original reporting is Chronicle, just to be clear. Thank you to the producers. But some close to her said that on her most difficult days, she does not seem to fully recognize even longtime colleagues. Sometimes she will ask small talk questions in conversations and then ask the same question again because she doesn't remember that she already did. So look, as I said in the run up to this, talking about someone's mental faculties, especially someone who is on the older side, is a very uncomfortable thing. And in many cases, there's been a lot of conspiracy theorizing about these sorts of topics. That said, she is a senator, and this is multiple other elected officials saying that they are worried about her ability to do her job. Nelini, what do you think about this?
Well, yes, I think it's hard to comment on somebody's mental health state or state, but I do think that I don't need that to know that it's time for Dianne Feinstein to go, because she doesn't actually represent progressive values. I think a lot of folks remembered when Sunrise Youth confronted her about the Green New Deal, and she just shooed them away, didn't want to listen to them, didn't want to listen to young people in her state who were concerned about their futures and climate resiliency. I also am old enough to remember when she hugged Lindsey Graham after the Amy Coney Barrett trials and said this was the best Supreme Court, trials we had, we're not trials, but interviews that we've had and process that we've had. And given what Judge Ketanji Brown just went through, to me, she just doesn't represent the values of Californians. The Californians are really, really progressive. And so that's why, for me, it's time for her to go, not necessarily commenting on her mental or health state.
I think that that's a very responsible way to go about it. Like, this is not going to help her. Although we should bear in mind, other elected officials are talking about her potential difficulties. They're trying to, theoretically get out in advance of her running for re-election, which we still don't know exactly what she's going to do.
Right.
It could be that they're doing that because there is some other person they'd like to see be appointed to that spot or run for that spot. Right. We have to bear in mind, they potentially could be biased too, but yeah, Dianne Feinstein is obviously, she is representing among the most progressive states in the entire country. Shouldn't we thus have one of the best progressives? And we could. There's certainly enough people. I mean, God only knows if the Democratic Party in California would let that happen, the amount of money that would be thrown against them. But this could potentially go to, there could be in 2024 a race here. Is there anyone that leaps to mind for you as someone who might be more representative of the state that could take Feinstein's position?
Ooh, what an interesting, spicy question. I mean, I think that there are a lot of a new generation of leaders in the state of California. I know that there's a progressive city councilwoman in LA, Nithya, who's been really great. There's a lot of folks in the state legislature as well. There are folks like maybe Ro Khanna, who has been in, a progressive for quite some time. So I just know at the end of the day that Californians are really organized. We've seen that in the 2020 primary. We've seen that with the stuff that has been able to be won in the state. And I fundamentally believe that if a progressive steps up that can do the job and that has the support of community and organizations, they could win.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that there's I imagine Katie Porter would probably make a good run for that. And there's like Barbara Lee maybe. Like this was the sort of talk that was going around in the last contested election. But anyway, we're gonna have to see. It's super high stakes. We need a leader, and I think that we deserve one. Anyway, there's more details available. You can go to the Chronicle's reporting if you want to find out more about this.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.